That's right, you read the title correctly. You can seriously build an ETL data pipeline to read any data source you like with as little as one line of Python. Now, once you count function declarations and import statements, that may be 3 or 4 lines, but still, you can regularly ingest any arbitrary data source into your tables with a single line of code. Today, we're going to look at how to do just that with a little thing called Meerschaum Plugins. Let's get started. My name is Bennett Meares. I'm a data engineer, and I'm the author of the open source library Meerschaum, which is meant to make your life as a data analyst easier. Today, we're pulling back the curtain and finding out just how easy it is to build data pipelines with Meerschaum plugins. So here's today's challenge. Every day, the New York Times publishes recent COVID data for counties in a CSV file. What I want to do is to automatically get this data and to add the newest rows into our table. If you were doing this from scratch, you'd first have to figure out how to fetch the data, then implement a way to filter out the rows you've already added, and finally write a way to actually insert the new rows into the table. These are the steps I call fetch, filter, and insert in my master's thesis, which is all about what we're talking about today, syncing time series data. I wrote 100 pages on the topic, so believe me, what at first seems like a simple problem can get complicated quickly. And that's where Meerschaum comes in. Our time is very limited, and our hypothetical boss wants this data as quickly as possible. Rather than reinventing the wheel, let's only worry about the fetch stage, and Meerschaum will handle the rest. So let's open a new file called nyt.py, and let's define where the CSV file is that we're fetching. And let's go ahead and import Pandas, every data scientist's favorite library. So here's where we write that single line of Python. Let's use the magical pandas read CSV function and pass the URL of our CSV file. Now I already know the column names of our data table, so let's tell Pandas to parse the column called date as a date time. And that's it. Seriously, this is all the code that we need to write. So let's start pulling some data. So the first thing we need to do is to create a new pipe with our plugin as its connector. So let's jump inside the interactive Meerschaum shell. We could run the bootstrap pipe command, check the first episode where we walk through the bootstrapping wizard. But for now, let's just run the command bootstrap pipe, use the C flag to specify our plugin, remember it was plugin NYT, and the M flag to specify the metric. I'm just gonna call it COVID. Now that we've registered our pipe, run the command edit pipes with the same flags to open our editor where we can define the column names of our pipe. I know the date time name is just date. I also know the ID column is FIPS. Once we're happy with that, just save and quit. And we've made the names of our columns. To get the data flowing, run the command sync pipes. And that's it, we've successfully synced our data. To verify the data is there, run the command show data, and sure enough, these are the columns that we're expecting. But what happens if we run the sync pipes command again, even though the source data probably hasn't changed in the last 5 seconds? Well, Meerschaum will fetch the same data, but since nothing has changed, it won't add any new rows. We can scroll up here and verify it added 0 rows to our new table. This means we can run the sync pipes command as often as we like, and only when new data are published by the New York Times will it then show up in our table. For example, I could run sync pipes with the loop flag to continually check when new rows are going to show up. That's how easy it is to build a data pipeline with a Meerschaum plugin. Seriously. Of course, in production, you'll probably want your code to be a bit more verbose, but for the data pipeline that our hypothetical boss wanted built, all we need is this one line of code. In the last episode, I mentioned that I was reading data from my Raspberry Pis, so here's a quick look at how that plugin works. All it's really doing is defining the column names in this register function, as well as returning a dictionary in the fetch function. Simple, yet effective. Also, here's another dashboard that I threw together to visualize the humidity, pressure, and temperature readings I'm getting from my Pis. Here's a dashboard I threw together to sort of visualize what we can do with our plugin. There's a lot more you can do with Meerschaum plugins, but that's all the time we have for now. There's an abundance of information on the project website, and if you ever get stuck, please start a discussion on the GitHub repo. Remember, Meerschaum is here to make your life as a data analyst easier. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.